Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today, let's start this Rosh Hashana daf Lamed Beis. We're going to begin on the very top of Lamed Beis with off by the Mishnah. Seder brachos. When it comes to the order of the brachos of the Shmon Esrei Omer, as we always do every day, Avos, Vuros, V'chayim Mesim, Kedushas Hashem, which of course we end up with Hamelcha Kadosh, V'kol Malchios Imahen. According to this opinion, we include the Malchios together with the Kedushas Hashem. Veno tokeya, but we do not blow a shofar then. Kedushas hayoim v'tokeya. Zichronos v'tokeya, shofaros v'tokeya. So these are the different times that we do tekiya. Of course, the Minhag Ashkenaz is only during Chazar Sashatz, as opposed to the Sfarad, which they do it during the private meet as well. The Yomer Abodo, they say Ritzei v'hodav v'rachas kohanim. Divrei Rabbi Yochanan ben Nura, or Rabbi Kiva. If it's what we're saying, that you don't say blow shofar during Malchios, the Lamahu Maskir. So why do you mention it? Now, Omer Avos Gebros Kedushas Hashem, but Koil Malchiosim Kedushas Hashem, Kedushas Hayom. According to this opinion, you include Kedushas Hashem in Kedushas Hashem. You're Koil Malchios with Kedushas Hayom, V'Tokeya, and you blow. So again, according to this opinion, you're supposed to do tekiya during Malchus as well. So the Torah tells you you're supposed to do it. So El Lama Eser, why 10? Lematesha, say 9. Dahoyel Vishtani Ishtani. Since it's different without the shofar, Ishtani, it's completely changed. Says Rashi, Le'matation dehoyel ishtani malchios mizachronos when the tekiya she'in toike behen ishtani nami lefaches behen. So you should make it less. Tarabana menayin she'omrim abois. So this we have in numerous places in the Masechtas Megillah, which we'll get to soon. Shenemar habul Hashem b'nei elim, which is the b'nei elim are referring to our avos. Menayin she'omrim gevuros. Shenemar habul Hashem kabad bois, and then contains about strength, which is rain and Kesamesa. Manai she'amrin kedushos. Shenemar habul Hashem kabad shemo hishtach Hashem b'hadus kodesh. So it says beferish is talking about kedusha. Manai she'amrin machas zechonos v'shayfaros. So how do we know we do these things? So Rabbi Lezer Omer, the pasuk says Shabbason zikron tura mikra kodesh Shabbason ze kedushas hayoim. That's referring to the kedusha of the day. Zikaron is obviously el zichronos. Teruah el shofaros. Mikra kodesh kadshehu b'asiyas malacha. You sanctify it regarding malacha and not doing work. Amal Rabbi Kiva minimalo yinemer Shabbason shavois shaboi pasach hakasat chila. Ela Shabbason. The proper reading is like this: Shabbason kadshehu b'asiyas malacha. So you're mekadshehu with asiyas malacha. Zikaron el zichronos, trua el shafaros, mikra kodesh, zu kedushas hayoim, menayin she'omer malchus, Tanya, Rabbi Omer, the pasuk says, Ani Hashem alkeichem, b'chodesh hashvi, zu malchus. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, enu sarach. You don't need that pasuk, because Hari Omer, the pasuk already says, Ohai lechem lo zikaron lefnei Hashem, lefnei elokeichem. She'en tamud lo'omer ani Hashem alkeichem, so it doesn't have to end that way. Matamud lo'omer ani Hashem alkeichem, zeh b'na'av, l'chol makom shnemer bo zichronos, you malchios imahan. Whenever the zichronos, malchios is accompanied with it. Ve'echet amro l'kedushas hayoim. So where is it said? L'kedushas hayoim. Tanya Rabbi Omer hi malchios oimra. You should say kedushas hayoim together with malchios. Why? So ma mitzina b'chol makom. We find in all places brevius afkan brevius. In all normal places, it's done it's the fourth bracha. So it should also be the fourth bracha. Shebegamul Omer im hazichronos. Amra, why? Because mamatzin machol makom be'emsa afkan be'emsa. Normally, like on the Shabbos, there's 7. So there's 3, 1, and 3. So the middle one is be'emsa. That's kedushas hayom. So over here, because there's 3, 3, 3, so therefore the middle one is the 5th. Okay, which is actually question 3. In eno bracha koilas kedushas hayom b'tfil Rosh Hashana umatam. So he said the question is, should it be the third bracha, or should it be the fourth bracha rather, or should it be the emsa? Ukeshikidshu based in es Hashana, when they're makadosh the year beusha Yored Rabbi Yochanan ben Broik, Lefnei Rabbi Shimon Levi, Asak Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. And the passage like the sheet of Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. Amar Rabbi Shimon Lo Hayno Hagen Kin B'Yavna. We're not knowing this in Yavna. Again, Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri is referring to in our Mishnah. Yom Hasheni, Yored Rabbi Chanina, Benoisha Rabbi Yosi Hagwili, the Asak Rabbi Kiva, and the Pasuk Rabbi Kiva. Amar Shem Moil Kach Hayno Hagen B'Yavna. That's how we're knowing. L'Meimer, Rabbi Shimon ben Kamoy Rabbi Kiva Suril. It must be holding Rabbi Kiva. Abaham Rabbi Kiva, Malchi Yosim Kedushas Hayoim. You're supposed to say Malchus together with Kedushas Hayom. Amalahu, Amalahu, Amar Shem ben Gamliel Loimer, Kedushas Hayom has Echronos Amalahu. So Amar Avzero Loimer Shetoikin L'Malchus. It's telling you that this is what he actually agreed to. Well, Yom Hasheni Yard Rabbi Chanina, my Sheni, Elam Yom Tov Sheni, the second day of Yom Tov. Remember the Ibruel Elul. You're telling me that they made Elul into a large month, made into like a 30th day. We know it's not the case. Yom Rabbi Chanina Bar Kahana, as Rabbi Elach Matzino Elul Uber. It never happened. So I'm Rav Chisda, my Sheni. Yom Sheni L'Shan Haba. It means referring to the following year. Ein Poichasin Masar Malchios Mesar Zechonos Mesar Shafaris. We have 10 psukim from each of them at the least. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri Omer Him Omer Gimel Gimel Mikun Yatza. If you said 3, that's good enough. So how do you start Malchios Keneged me? Why do we have 10 psukim from Malchios? So Omer Rabbi Keneged Asar Halulim. She Omer David B'Sefer Tehillim. There's 10 times in which David said Hallel in Sefer Tehillim. Okay. Haluka B'Teka Shofar. Hilulim Tuvahav. There's a lot. So Hina Tiksibahu Halu B'Teka Shofar, as we just mentioned, which is the last kapitel 150. Now Yosei Omer Keneged Aser Sedibros. It's Keneged the 10 commandments. As Rashi says, Tiksibahu Nami Shofar. He mentioned Shofar there. Shenamru Loi Bahar Sinai Eloshim Sinai. Rabbi Yochanan Omer Keneged Asar Mamarish V'Hen Nibra Olam. The 10 utterances that Hashem created the world with, as is mentioned in Perkei Avos. So Hainin Hu V'Yomer V'Yomer. The Bereshis test Havi. So Bereshis Nami Maimerhu. The word Bereshis is also among the 10. T'chsev Bidvar Hashem Shemayim Nasu. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri Omer Imam Shal Shalosh Mekon Yatsa. 3 is enough. Yiboilhu Heichi Katani Shalosh Min Atar Shalosh Min Avim V'Shalosh Min Ksuvim Davi Teisha 3 and 3, which equals 9. Yikabi Nayu Chada, and the Nafkimin is just 1. No Dilma Echem in the Torah, Echem in the Avim, Echem in the Ksuvim, the Habil Shalosh, Yikabi Nayu Tuva. There's only need to do is 1 each. So, and therefore it's a big Nafkimin. The Tashma Destanya. In Pachas Miasar Malchus, Miasar Zechronos, Miasar Shafaros, 10. Dim Omer Sheva Mekulan, if you said 7, Yatza. Keneged Shiva Riki in the 7 heavens. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri Omer Hapoichas L'Yichos Misheva. You shouldn't do less than 7. The Imam Shalosh Mekol Yatza. If you did 3, it's okay. Keneged Torah Neviim Ksuvim. The Armala Keneged Kohanim Levim Yisraelim. Omer Rav Huda Omer Shmuel Halacha Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. Says Rashi, it shouldn't be less than 7. The Yisachatak Shalosh Min Torah, the Shalosh Min Neviim, the Shalosh Min Ksuvim, 333. L'choil for each. In Kain Sheva Nami, Sheva Min Torah, Sheva Min Hanavim, Sheva Min Ksuvim Havilei. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri Moisef. Okay. Ein maskirin zichronos malchus shoifaros shalpronios. You can't mention any psukim which are detrimental, which have a negative tone, as we'll discuss whether that's the case. In all circumstances, that's going to be TA 16. Maska b'tayra mashim b'navi. You begin reading psukim which are Torah psukim, and then you complete with neviim, with ksubim in the middle. If you end with Torah, that's also fine. As we continue to Lami Beis with Beis. Malchus, so it's Kigoin, give me a pasuk for that. Chai ani nuam Hashem Elokim, im lo biad chazaka v'zun netuya, v'vachema shvucha emloich aleichem. Now, that pasuk is acceptable. V'yafagav yam Rab Nachman, koil ki hai rischa lirtach kuchabrichu. All this fury that Hashem had, alon v'lif roi kinon. It's so that He will redeem us afterwards. Kivan diversichasa amar, because it mentions anger at kuri rischa b'rei shaitalo mad kurinon. We don't want to mention anger at the beginning of the year Rosh Hashana. So that pasuk is not a good idea. Zikaron Kigoin of Pranyos that you should avoid. V'yiskar ki basar hema. Shofar Kigoin Tika Shofar Begiva. Aval im bo leimer malchus zikaron v'shofar shel Pranyos shel Eved Chachavim oimer. The exception is if it's Pranyos shel Eved Chachavim of idol worshippers, of those who are not of the Jewish faith. Those psukim are not geared toward us, and therefore they can be said. Malchus kigayin Hashem Malach Yirguzu Amim, the nations tremble. Ukigayin Hashem Melech Oilam Boed, Avdu Goyim Mi Artso, Zikaron kigayin Zach Hashem Livnei Edoim, Shofar kigayin Hashem Elokim B'Shofi Yitaka V'Hoylach B'Tsaros Taimon. He goes in the storm. Uksiv Hashem Savakois Yagin Alehem. Ein Maskir and Zikaron Shel Yachid. We don't mention anything about an individual. V'afilu Tovim is good. Ukigayin Zachreni Hashem B'Ritzon Amecha. Ukigayin Zachor Li Elokei L'Taiva. Pigdoinos Harihin Kizichronos. Any word that says Pakad, that's just equivalent to saying Zachor, and that's acceptable. Ukigayin Hashem Pakad Asara. Ukigayin Pakod Pakadati Eschem Dibri Rabbi Yossi ben Yehuda. Rabbi Yossi. Yehuda Omer. So question 4 asks, is the pasuk Hashem Pakad Asara, can you use that among the psukim of Zichronos? So it's machlokas whether or not you say that Pekida is the same thing as Kizichronos. Rabbi Yosef Nehi granted Nami de Pigdainos Harihin Kizichronos Hashem Pakad Asara Pikadon Diachidu. It's an individual. I thought we say we don't do psukim about individuals. They have to be about Rabbim. So Kivan di Asu Rabbim Mina, since many came from her, Kirabim Damya. Sushar Marshech Minosum Hisli Ailam, Yabam El Hakabad Mihu, Zemel Hakavoid, Hashem Izos Vigimar Hashem Gimar Muhammad. Sushar Marshech Minosum Hisli Ailam, Yabam El Hakavod Mihu, Zemel Hakavod, Hashem Samosam El Hakavod Sela. Rishaina Shtayim. The first pasuk 2. Shnia, the second pasuk, Shalish, can count as 3. Divrei Rabbi Yossi. So according to Rabbi Yossi, he holds that statement is actually 5 psukim. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Rishayna Acha, Shnia Shtayim. Zamru Elokim, it says Elokim. Zameru Zamru Malkenu. Zameru Kimel Kol Aretz Elokim Shtayim. Because it says Elokim in Malkenu. Divrei Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Achas, it's only 1. It only counts as 1 pasuk. V'shavin B'malach Elokim Al Goyim Elokim Yoshev Al Kisik Kotcher Shiyachas. That pasuk is only 1. Zikara in Sheshbo Terua. If you have a zikaron which has trua, and it can go in Shabbos and zikaron trua Mikra Kodesh Amar Ima Zichronos or Amar Ima Shaifaros. They were Rabbi Yossi. You can use that pasuk for both of them. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer Einu Aimer El Im HaZichronos Mulvad. That pasuk can only be said for Zichronos. Malchus Sheish Imo Terua can go. Let's say Malchus which has trua in it. For example, Hashem Elokav Imo Suras Melch Bo. Amar Im HaMalchus Amar Im HaShofaros to Rabbi Yossi. Again, you can use it for both. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer Eno Amar El Im HaMalchus Bovad. Trua She'eni Malo Klum. Let's say trua which has nothing in it could go in Yom Trua Yel Lachem Amar Im HaShofaros. So that can only be said with Shofaros to Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer Eno Amar Kol Iker cannot be said at all because even though it has the word trua, but it doesn't have the word shofar in it, and therefore that's not acceptable. Mas b'tayr mashlam and navi. Rabbi Yossi Aimer im hishlam b'tayr yatsa. So im hishlam di'avid l'chachil lo. That sounds like it's b'di'avid to do it that way. Basanya Rabbi Yossi Aimer ha-mashlam b'tayr harizim mishubach. It's praiseworthy. You should also end off with a Torah pasuk. Aim of mashlam. No, it doesn't mean b'di'avid. It means that's what you should do. Abba im hishlam katani di'avid l'chachil lo hachikamer. Maska b'tayr mashlam navi. You begin with Torah and you finish with navi. Rabbi Yossi Aimer mashlam b'tayr. If you finish with Navi, Yatsa. B'di'evid, if you finish with Navi, you're Yatsa. Taina mihaki. Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Yossi uva sikin hayimashlim and oisa b'tayra. They would finish up with Torah psukim. Now Bishlam is zichronos and shofaros ikatuva. There's many psukim. El malchios plus hu dahavi. There's only 3, which are namely Hashem el kav imasuras melch bo. The Hibishur melch. Hashem yimoch elam boed. Yanan b'inan etzer v'leika. You need 10. How are you going to get to that? So Amar Rav Huna Tashma. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad Malchus, which of course is what we end off that pasuk with. We use the pasuk of Shema Yisrael. Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Huda Omer Einu Malchus. That's not Malchus. Yodata Hayom Hashemos Elvach Ki Hashem Hu Elokim Ein Od. Of course, we say Aleinu in Malchus. Malchus. Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Huda Omer Einu Malchus. Ata Reis Eldas Ki Hashem Hu Elokim Ein Od Mulvado Malchus. Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Huda Omer Einu Malchus. So how does he have psukim of Malchus? It sounds like he doesn't really have any. Okay. Weiter. Next Mishnah. The person is the Shliach Tzibor on Rosh Hashanah. Hasheni Matkia. The second one, in other words, the Baal Musaf, that's when shofar is blown. However, on, let's say, a Shabbos or Rosh Chodesh, the first person, namely Shacharis, we say Hallel by Shacharis. So Maishna Sheni Maskia, why do we do the shofar afterwards? Mishum Deroiv Am Hadus Melech. We have to wait until more people can come to shul, and therefore that's better to wait. Yachi Halal Nami, Nema B'Shem Mishum Deroiv Am Hadus Melech. Say the same thing by Hallel. El Maishna Hallel Deberisha Mishum Desrusa Matim Mitzvahs. So to can't Nami Navid Berisha Mishum Desrusa Matim Mitzvahs, you should do it first. We should always do the mitzvahs as fast as right away. So Amar Yochanan B'Shas Gezeres Hamalchus Shanu. It's talking about a time of Gezeres Malchus, which means that there was a time in which there was a prohibition of hearing shofar, and therefore they would come to the shul, and they would actually feel that perhaps hearing the shofar was some type of battle cry against their government. So therefore they did it afterwards. The question is, how does that help? So look at Taisus. The Apalpi Shabbat Gezeres Malchus, even though there's no such issue anymore, we're concerned that you may end up going back. So again, what we end up doing is we say it afterwards, and perhaps the pshat is that once they see that that you're actually engaged in davening and praying, and then you blow the shofar, they're going to realize it's not a rebelliousness, but it's just a way of serving Hashem, and therefore that's something which is less of an issue once you do it by Musaf. And the Gemara b'Shas Hallel Michlal the Rosh Hashana Leika Hallel. So mashma, we don't say Hallel in Rosh Hashana? Why wouldn't we say Hallel in Rosh Hashana in my time? Of course we don't. Because of this very famous Gemara. Amar Avo, Amar Malki Sharas Avnei Kadosh Baruch Hu Rabbanu Shalom Nebnei Ma Ein Yisrael Oimim Shir Lefanecha B'Rosh Hashana V'Yom Kippurim. Of all days, the high holidays, they should say Hallel. So Mohen Esher Melech Yoshel Akisei Din. You have a king that's sitting by his throne judging. V'Sifrei Chaim V'Sifrei Mesim Psuchim Lefanav. The books of life and death are in front of us. Yisrael Oimim Shira. How can you expect Yisrael to say Shira? And therefore, because of that, they don't. Okay, we're going to stop there. Let's see if there's a couple more questions that we may or may not have done. So we said before, question 3, Im Ezu Bracha Koilas Kedushas Hayom B'Tfilas Rosh Hashanah Uma'atam. So we said it's either, according to Rabbi, he says it's Im Malchus. That's what we find all places. That's the fourth bracha. Shamuel says it's by Zechronos, which is the middle bracha. Question 4 is the pasuk Hashem Pachan Esara. Can you use that? So again, the question is Bekida Zechira. Question 5. We didn't do that. TA 16. Ha'im askirin malchus zikaron b'shayfer shel pranios. That's what we said, that we do not. However, as the Gemara says over here, that zikaron b'shayfer shel pranios shel avikachavim, oimer, that is allowed to be said. Ad kan.